Hello, everybody, and welcome to the May 5th Trips and Traps. I'm Andy Serling, joined by Eric Donovan.
We have 5 races to bring you in 2 segments this week. We'll take a look at the Westchester run last weekend a little bit later on, but we'll start things off on April 30th. That was Saturday with the 3rd race. This is a maiden claimer on the grass at 6 furlongs for fillies and mares.
I think it's a true trips and traps race when they break from the gate, because there is two horses that have trips. Now, one of them, primarily for our money, is the 7-horse Married at Sea, who ends up finishing 4th. The 3-horse, who's buried in there outside of the 2, that's Queens or Better, runs 3rd. This is the horse a lot of people will think had a trip, and he did have a bit of a trip, but I don't think it necessarily mattered.
Yeah, I agree. I think the horse that really you want going forward out of this group is Married at Sea, and we'll see Queens or Better have a little bit of trouble on the stretch, but I thought all in all had a pretty fair run. But Married at Sea, the one that gets behind the 8 ball early on with the poor break, and just has to overcome that throughout the race.
Yeah, and it's not like it was a speed-dominated race, but to have come from where Married at Sea came from, and Married at Sea was a first-time starter for David Pell, who doesn't have a lot of horses. It was 26-1. You could argue the 26-1, the horse actually took a little bit of money, and does have sort of an inside trip. Gets stopped a little bit in the stretch, though, but made up a lot of ground. And the 3-horse Queens or Better, who you see stalking on the inside, has a little trap in the stretch. The question is, did it really matter?
Well, it doesn't matter, because to this point, Queens or Better's had a perfect trip just sitting in behind the speed right here, and it looks like there's a hole that's going to open up on the inside for Queens or Better. That doesn't happen. The horse comes over in front of him, but Queens or Better, I think, is going to have ample time to get out and make a run here.
Yeah, no, I agree. Queens or Better is down the inside. Now, you'll watch Married at Sea, has a little bit of traffic. We're not saying she would have won, but she was held up enough when she's trying to rally, and you have to realize you're talking about sort of cheaper horses. And I think all in all, for a first-time starter, considering the break, Married at Sea is okay relative to these horses.
Yeah, I think this was a good learning experience. The cleaner break, probably be closer up and won't have to work to get in that position. And also, did get in that traffic in the stretch where he's jammed up in between horses there. So I think Married at Sea, a filly that could definitely improve next time out.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue that this is the kind of field where you're sort of looking for strangers the next time they meet up. That's that kind of group, first-time turfers. But all things considered, Married at Sea is a horse you can move forward. Not that Queens or Better can't win, and we're not saying she can't, but she's one that'll get more attention as she got bet in this race, and I just don't think she's that good.
I agree with you. We'll take a look at another race from Saturday. This is race number 8, a 2-lifetime claimer going 6 furlongs on the grass for fillies and mares.
Yeah, and this was a race that resulted in Frazee, who finished first, getting justifiably disqualified. We're going to show a horse that gets interfered with in the stretch, and that's number 2, Olivai, who does have a little bit of trouble in there. But primarily the horse that Eric's mostly interested in is the 4, Sounds Freudian, in the pink silks, who was trying the turf for the first time.
Yeah, daughter of Freud for the Scott Schwartzbarn, getting on the grass for the first time. And, broke in good position here with good tactical speed, but the race is kind of going to unfold right in front of her right here with another horse going up. She's going to have to steady a little bit in here. Not a big deal so far. Still working out an okay ground-saving trip, but did lose about a length in that whole situation right there. But here's where the trouble is going to start. There's another horse right to Sounds Freudian's outside. Is going to have to steady off that horse a little bit there. We'll circle Sounds Freudian again, and there we take a look at Olivai as well. But the Sounds Freudian also is going to have to stop and get steadied again and cost Sounds Freudian a couple lengths here. Going to get back into the race late, not make a big run, but isn't going to be badly beaten in the spot, and here finishing 5th.
And another nice thing about Sounds Freudian is the chart comment. Saved ground for nearly a half, angled 3 wide in the lane, and no meaningful offering to render. And the charts have been very, very good. I think it was a case, though, where they just missed the trouble, and she did have some real trouble in this race. Olivai also has some trouble in here, and why this horse was disqualified. This is the 10, Frazee, in the lead. Olivai is trying to find a seam to angle out, and as she angles out with the 10 outside of her Moonwalk Beauty, who finished second, was placed first, they're in position, and now at this point Olivai may be able to roll on by the 2 of them, but the 10-horse Frazee drifts out, and it's a difficult thing to see. You could tell on the pan that she's drifting, but Olivai was absolutely cost a chance to win. Now, she may well have won this race, but I think if you want a horse out of here, maybe Eric's hidden Sounds Freudian's the better one at a better price.
Yeah, I think so. I just think that there's no strong finish from Sounds Freudian, not really up close with the top finishers there, but not far back either, and did have that trouble in the stretch first time on the grass. I think it would be a good experience for her, and she'll move forward next time out on the turf as well. But Olivai, kind of a horse that had obvious trouble that most people will see right in front of your eyes in the stretch.
Yeah, and this is a good time, obviously, especially in these turf sprints, to try to find some interesting things going forward, because we're going to run a plethora of the turf sprints at Belmont Park, and a lot of these horses, as you say, with the ones we've just shown, they don't have any real experience in these, and if you can find ones that are a little dirtied up and they work for you, you might be able to get a price. They'll certainly get a chance to run.
One more race in this first segment. We'll save the best for last here. We'll go with the Westchester now, race number 9 on Saturday at 1 mile.
Yeah, and we wanted to talk a little bit just about, because obviously Haynesfield, the 4-5 favorite, the winner of the Jockey Club, was a big disappointment in finishing 4th. And the dynamics of the race, listen, it was in some ways a decent enough setup for Kayaks Electronica, but it's not as though he wasn't towards the teeth of this very hot pace in here. Convocation, who had the most perfect setup of all time, along with Schoolyard Dreams, were very disappointing in second and third. Haynesfield really gets put into a jackpot.
Yeah, first start back for Haynesfield. This is a tough spot. I think the plan with Christmas for Liam was probably to break and, stay in close attendance to Haynesfield, not to let him get away. Well, Christmas for Liam broke sharp and, takes Javier Castellano right up to the lead there. They go and set a wicked pace in here with Haynesfield having to chase inside. Kayaks Electronica is really the one that, is with this group of horses, so is expending some energy here, but, benefits from sitting back a little bit.
Yeah, now, you see them in the three horses, and at this point, Christmas for Liam is clearing. So Haynesfield is now put behind, and this is a very good ride by Cornelio Velasquez, who's been riding exceptionally well both at Aqueduct and here, especially in the last couple months. And he absolutely puts Haynesfield in this jackpot where he's eating the dirt from Christmas for Liam, and not a position that Haynesfield has spent much of his career in. It's almost new territory for him. And Kayaks Electronica, who improved mightily first time for Todd Fletcher, good race in Florida, but this was a much better effort. He puts him in the jackpot. Haynesfield, as it turns out, has no answer anyway.
Yeah, Haynesfield moving forward, I guess you just draw a line through this race, and he's a better horse than this, and you hope he gets back to the form he has last year. A nice effort from Kayaks Electronica. And, the real disappointment, I thought, in this race was Convocation, who had everything go his way, had a great setup here, and just kind of plugs up for second.
It would only be disappointing if you thought that he would have done better. He's that kind of horse. He doesn't really put in meaningful runs. Christmas for Liam may have gotten an over-aggressive ride. I thought it was a good ride, to be honest, by Javier Castellano. He felt that the horse he had to beat was Haynesfield, and he took it to him from the start. It blew up in his face, but it's easy in retrospect to knock a rider or knock, whether it's trainer's decision to do that or not, to knock the situation. It didn't work out, but I don't know that necessarily it was the wrong plan going in, because frankly, they got Haynesfield beat, and it's not like they were in there trying to get him beat, but they felt he was the one they had to beat. It just turned out Christmas for Liam couldn't handle the trip.
Yeah, I think, I think that Christmas for Liam, they probably would have, looking back on it now, probably would have liked to sit a half length off of Haynesfield, obviously, but still, I think you're right. With the outside post, they wanted to make sure that Haynesfield didn't get away, and you know what, he ran two big races down in Florida. He's obviously a horse of some talent. Christmas for Liam, and we'll see how he moves next time out. Right,
and he may turn out to be a horse not unlike Convocation that does his best running against slightly inferior foes, but when he meets the big boys, so to speak, not that Kayaks Electronica has made himself a big boy, but he gets in a tougher spot. Maybe he just won't be a horse that proves it out. That does it for the first segment of Trips and Traps. Once again, we love to hear your thoughts. That email address is tripsandtraps@NYRAinc.com.
Come on back for the second segment.